Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Well, today I am back in my home base, located in the midwestern portion of the United States of America. Had a very pleasant trip out to the Hawaiian Islands. Have absolutely nothing bad to say about Hawaii. Very, very nice place, especially where I was staying in Maui. Very enjoyable experience. Now back to the war that is continuing to take place between Russia, Ukraine, the culture war that is taking place here in the United States. This morning, there has been, well, really over the last week, and then this morning, I would say, there's two things that I quite honestly never thought I would see, and I have. And one of those things is the flag of pedophilia hanging over the White House. Yes, pedophilia. The transvestite homosexual flag that now flies over the White House, front and center, includes portions for pedophilia. What they call minor attractives. It's that pink and very light blue. People will say it means other things, but that is not what it means. So never thought I'd see that flying over the White House. And we do. We see that now. And then another, well, I wouldn't say I would never thought I would see this, but a column of Bradley armored fighting vehicles and Leopard 2 German-made main battle tanks lying wrecked in ruin in eastern and southeastern Ukraine. I mean, did anybody envision going into this war, when we talked about, especially the early stages of this conflict, how it would be this quick, decisive war by Russia? And obviously that did not occur. Now, this channel did not believe that would occur. We believed it was going to be long and drawn out and would eventually escalate, and it is escalating. Again, I don't think anyone going into this conflict seeing a column of Bradley armored fighting vehicles and Leopard 2 main battle tanks, some of the most advanced variants of the Leopard 2, lying destroyed in what is essentially now the Russian Federation. Craziness. Storm Shadow cruise missiles being fired at targets deep in the Crimean Peninsula, hitting targets in eastern Russia, in the Belgorod region, hitting targets in Mariupol, Melitopol. Again, going into this war, I don't think anyone foresaw that would occur. If I would to have discussed the prospects of us seeing a smashed column of Bradley armored fighting vehicles with Leopard 2s at the onset of this conflict, if I would have told you you would see that, if I would have created an image of smoldering Bradley fighting vehicles and Leopard 2 main battle tanks at the beginning or going into this conflict, what would you have said? Would you have believed it, that it could happen? Well, it is happening. If we would have discussed the prospect of Ukrainian forces attempting to enter Russia proper near Belgorod, would that have been something you would have entertained? So now the question is, what's next? What happens next? What is the next escalation? How deep does this war goes? What happens next? Because there is going to be a next, and no one really knows what that is. Just like at the beginning of the conflict, no one would have suspected that, again, a column of Bradley fighting vehicles in conjunction with Leopard 2s would lay destroyed in southern Russia or southern Ukraine, depending on what side of the conflict you are on. And there are sides to this conflict. Make no mistake of it. And now we're looking at a war that will probably last for some time. And as that war lasts, that event horizon for escalation to drag in other European powers, possibly the United States, and a broader conflict is omnipresent. But the Ukrainian counteroffensive, not going as some had envisioned. Some had envisioned that this would be a rapid operation by Ukrainian forces, much like the operation that took place near Kharkov, east of Kharkov. Is that happening in this offensive by the Ukrainians? It is not. It is not. The Ukrainians have taken some casualties, hence the discussion about the smashed column of Bradley armored infantry fighting vehicles and Leopard 2 main battle tanks. But right now, it appears that the Ukrainians are having some difficulty in the south. They are not making the kind of headway that was anticipated in this very large offensive operation that is taking place. A lot of Russian forces have been moved into this area, especially Russian forces that have been able to be brought in from the areas near Kherson. Remember when the Russians were on the western bank of the Dnieper River. And we saw that tactical withdrawal of Russian forces to the eastern bank of the Dnieper River. Compounding that, the explosion at the Nova Kakhovka Dam has allowed additional Russian forces to be redeployed to meet this Ukrainian offensive that is taking place south of Kharkiv, south of Zaporizhia, in the direction the military objective right now appears to be Tokmak. Vital area the Ukrainians are trying to seize control over. Road junctions. And then obviously the final objective for the Ukrainians is to try and push down, seize Melitopol, cutting off the land corridor from Russia proper with the Crimea. Now, do we think that is going to happen here at MFAN? No, probably not. I think we risk even a greater series of escalations if that were to occur, including the use of tactical nuclear weapons. I don't think the Russians are going to allow that to occur. And I think this is going to be a slugfest for quite some time that we're seeing right now, both in the southern sector, which would be south of Zaporizhia, that runs all the way to the southern Donetsk. Then obviously the fighting that is still taking place in Bakhmut as well. The Ukrainians continue operations to try and push closer and closer to Bakhmut. The Ukrainians have had some success in the northwestern quadrant, some success in the southeastern quadrant. They've taken some of these fields, these open fields here. If you can get an idea on the size of this penetration by Ukrainian forces, so 3 kilometers down here in the southwest towards Bakhmut. But again, we're going to have more very, very soon. Again, back to home base. And today I see the flag of pedophilia hanging over the White House, the transvestite flag hanging over the White House, and transvestites going topless on White House grounds. And Leopard 2 main battle tanks and Bradley fighting vehicles lay smashed and destroyed in southern Russia or southern Ukraine. Crazy times, folks. That's all we have for today. We'll be back very, very soon. Have a good day.